Amendment of the U.S. Constitution grants us freedom for being slaves. That is with the exception about being a criminal. The American criminal justice system is nothing but a strategy that is used to control over black and brown people. And the mass incarceration rate that America has today was a result from a rhetorical war that was started by Richard Nixon and then continued on by Ronald Reagan. Their plan was to clean America from drug abuse. But what it really escalated to in the end was an actual war between the people and then the criminal justice system. The war on drugs, declared by Richard Nixon in 1971. It was during the crack epidemic, and then the rise of the recreational drug use from the 1960s led him to focus and target substance abuse. And as part of the war and drug system, Nixon then increased the federal funding for drug abuse agencies, which he then proposed strict measurements, much like mandatory prison sentences for criminal drug crimes. And all this information can, of course, be found on the War on Drugs article from History.com. And according to the American Civil Liberties Union website, America has about 25% of the world's population in prison, and ever since the 1970s. So incarceration population has increased about 700%, so ergo about 2.3 million people are in jail or in prison today. As 1 of 3 black boys in today's day can expect to go to prison, as well as 1 out of 6 Hispanic boys compared to 1 out of 17 Caucasian boys. And in the 1990s, lawmakers campaigned that get tough on crime. America had to build a prison every 2 weeks. And even if they were building the prison every 2 weeks, they still could not meet the demand for prison beds. So they couldn't even have space for rats or other people. So violent crime has fallen by more than 51% since 1991, as well as property crime by 43%. Although the crime rate has dropped, spending funds on jails and prison has cost taxpayers about $81 billion. And all that money that could be spent on that's being spent on building prisons and jails, it could be spent for building them. So 7 million people in this country are incarcerated, are on parole, or on probation. The Equal Justice Initiative website reports that politics out of anger and fear fuel the Get Tough on Crime policies, which included mandatory minimum sentences, extraordinary harsh and racially different penalties. So, and that led to the groundbreaking parallel incarceration rate in America today. And then we have private prisons. So private prisons are owned by profit corporations. So then, back then, they had about 5, and then it had multiplied by 2008 by 100. And the profits have, of course, increased by 500% in the past 20 years. And then we have Ava DuVernay. She's an American film director, provider, screenwriter, filmmaker, and film distribution. So she made a documentary, which she named 13, referring to the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, where she explains in her film about the mass incarceration that we have in today's day, and as well what it was caused from and what we should be doing to help and decrease that. She did give us a quote, which says, "The current moment of mass criminalization and incarceration as an industry. Prison as profit, punishment as profit." This quote was given from her during an NPR station interview. So with this documentary that she had made, many people got to open their eyes, and as well as many famous artists, which they have now shared their personal opinions about mass incarceration today. So another artist that's well known is John Legend. In his words, mass incarceration is a policy that's been building up over the past 4 decades. And it has destroyed families and communities, and has affected, of course, mostly Black and Hispanic communities, the majority Black. And it's an era of manifestation and structural racism. So we can see that something needs to be changed just by seeing 2.3 million people being locked up on a given day. This nation has the highest prison incarceration rate in the world. policymakers, and we the public have the responsibility to carefully consider each individual. We have to ask ourselves whether social goals are being served, putting someone behind bars benefits the social and fiscal costs of America. So imagine being in front of a jury, your judge, and your family, and being called, stared down like if you're such a barbaric savage. It's traumatizing. And so many people have to go through this. And since the 1960s. And people that are in prison right now, they're like cage birds that have lost their freedom to fly. All these people that are incarcerated have had to learn how to live without their freedom, as well as their families and their loved ones have had to learn how to live without them.